Welcome to Keiro's 60th anniversary celebration. We are so proud to be here today to commemorate 6 decades of programs and care for our community's most valued treasures, our older adults. Our 60th year marks an important milestone, our Kanreki. This is a time not only for reflection on the past, but more importantly, writing the next chapter for Keiro to envision our future together with you, the people and partners who have been on this journey with us. A journey built on a 60-year legacy of bringing peace of mind to thousands of families in the Japanese American community as their loved ones age. As it turns out, the unofficial theme for this past year has been resilience. The last 19 months reminded us of the importance of adapting to our community's current needs and any curveball or pandemic that is thrown our way. Through the leadership of Jean, the staff, and the board of directors, we at Keiro are a resilient organization, making shifts to serve those in our community who are at the center of all we do and for whom our founders dedicated Keiro's mission, our older adults. Through our partnerships, our programs, and our supporters, we've helped our community as we face the pandemic together. This year has reminded all of us about our interconnectedness with our families, our community, and each other. When we look back at Keiro's phenomenal growth, we are also reminded of the innovative and bold decisions made throughout our history. The foresight to venture into memory care, the expansion into community-based services. And I have personally benefited from Keiro's expansive caregiving programs as I struggle to help care for my own parents. Looking back at these milestones certainly gives us so much to be proud of. But as we reflect on and celebrate our 60-year history, we must also face the difficult times we've experienced. The closure of Cityview Hospital in 1985 resulted in a significant divide in our community, impacting the lives of patients and their families, as well as physicians, nurses, and staff whose jobs were lost due to the closure. We began adult daycare programs over 20 years ago, but that was an example of being so far ahead of our time that the business model were not yet in place to make it sustainable. Although we had to close these programs, we remained committed to community-based programming. And finally, the sale of our 4 former facilities 5 years ago. The board of directors and I know we didn't handle the situation very well. In hindsight, we could have and should have handled it differently. We learn from the experience and understand how important our community's thoughts, feelings, and aspirations are. And we regret not doing a better job engaging our community and seeking their valuable input. I assure you that going forward, our community will be involved in building both Keiro's future and the future of aging in our community. We are committed to working in partnership with our community as Keiro embarks on our next 60 years in our role in helping aging adults wherever they call home. As we reflect on Keiro's 60-year legacy of peace of mind, we will continue the vision of our founders and we will continue to adapt to meet the needs of our community. Today, we celebrate our Kanreki, our rebirth. So let's follow the spirit of our 8 founders and prepare for the next chapter of aging in the Japanese American community. And today, let's think of aging, not for our parents' generation, but for our generation now and into the future, because we are the future of aging, the next wave of our community that will turn to Keiro wherever we call home.
Thank you for joining us today as we celebrate Keiro's 60th anniversary. We are here at Pasadena Buddhist Temple, one of Keiro's dedicated community partners. Today, we remember and honor the past, celebrate how far we've come, and look ahead at so much more that we can achieve in serving our community. For 6 decades, Keiro has been at the forefront of providing high-quality and culturally sensitive care. And now, let us look back and reflect on 60 years of rich history, tradition, and legacy, starting with our founders.
When I hear the word Keiro, I think about an amazing organization that has an incredible history, taking care of its elders.
The founders really wanted to make it Japanese American centric, and I don't think that's ever going to change.
Dating back to 1961, 8 community leaders saw the need to care for our aging community. George Aratani, Edwin Hiroto, Kiyo Maruyama, James Mitsumori, Gongoro Nakamura, Franco Matsu, Joseph Shinoda, and Fred Wada had a vision to address the glaring gap in resources to care for the community's older adults. They stepped forward, worked tirelessly, and founded Keiro, which means respect for the elderly. That core value of Keiro has resonated throughout the decades.
George Aratani foresaw the needs of our community way back when.
His father, who lived in Guadalupe, was a very generous man, and I think he felt he liked to be like his father.
One of the founders I was very lucky to have known was Ed Hiroto, the person who was able to take the dream and to make that a reality.
Franco Matsu sought out other people's opinions. I really respected him for that. Kiyo Maruyama was so sacrificing of his own personal time, showing commitment, to the organization.
Fred was a driver, a relentless fundraiser. George Aratani told me when he and Fred went to Japan once to start raising some money for the retirement home, they spoke to this group and they handed him a check for $2,000. Fred looks at this check and that's all you can afford. You guys need it worse than we do. He gave him the check back.
Our Issei really needed a place where they could have Japanese food and traditions and language, and Japanese American physicians could not even take care of their patients in a hospital because they couldn't get privileges. Keiro stepped in and provided a hospital that were very culturally, ethnically centered towards our population.
But I know things like CAT scans and MRIs and things were being invented, and but they cost $1 million. It doesn't sound like much now, but back then that was a huge chunk of money, and there was no way that a 50-bed hospital could buy that kind of equipment. The financial decision was that it had to be closed so that we could focus all the resources on the long-term care.
Long-term care is one of the most difficult types of care to provide. You have the most frail, the most elderly, the most number of medical problems, and I'm proud that Keiro was able to create, again, this amazing nursing home that did it in just the most outstanding manner.
The nursing home industry itself had a terrible reputation. At Keiro, we were determined to change that, and we did.
There was a big focus on reducing the use of physical restraints. We were able to become a restraint-free facility.
The health department started bringing their new trainee inspectors over to show them this is what a nursing home can be. We changed the entire industry because it raised the bar for everybody.
Part of my role as a junior faculty member at the University of Southern California School of Medicine was to teach all the residents who were going to become family physicians about long-term care. And we were very fortunate to have Keiro as our site and our teachers. I'm very proud of the education that these residents received and the role Keiro played there.
There was a lot of training on culture change. The caregivers really got to know the residents, got to know their individual preferences. They build like this trusting relationship with each other, and I think that was the most important thing that we did.
Working at Keiro was kind of a home for me because my grandmother was a resident, so I kind of felt comfortable there.
For those of us who grew up in the Keiro system, it was this environment that people just cherished.
The mission of helping our older adults was important. I could reconnect with the Japanese American community, which is something I really wanted to do.
You'd wear your volunteer t-shirt when you went to the grocery store because everybody was so proud, to be part of this organization that was recognized, as being this pillar.
People came to us as a safety net. They trusted us. They understood that we were going to take care of their loved ones.
Part of Keiro was the term respected elders, and the staff, management, everybody bought into that.
And these administrators of Howard Hiroshita, Tako Ishii, Beverly Ito, Jenny Tashima, were actually key to where we're at today.
Thanks to their visionary leadership and high standards, Keiro was always innovating and setting the bar for what aging means in our community. Starting from the Japanese hospital, Keiro evolved to encompass skilled nursing facilities. Eventually, as the needs of the community changed, Keiro grew to provide the full continuum of care through Keiro Nursing Home, Minami Keiro Nursing Home, South Bay Keiro Nursing Home, Keiro Intermediate Care Facility, and Keiro Retirement Home. In the 1990s, as the needs of the community changed, Keiro began focusing on older adults aging at home. There was a growing need for resources, education, and caregiver support. With more older adults seeking to age at home, Keiro launched new initiatives including conferences, events, and resources to share the latest information relating to aging. Keiro opened 2 adult day centers to provide high-quality care throughout the day.
Sean Miyake was the president and CEO of Keiro for over 20 years. I loved working for him because he would allow me the room and the freedom to establish new programs. The first adult day care center that Keiro established was in the late 1990s. It gave an opportunity for older adults to come to a safe, secure, compassionate, kind place for meals and snacks and activities, exercise and engagement during the day while they were living at home and perhaps their caregivers were working. The Genki living concept is based on the idea that health is not just physical, but it is emotional, it's intellectual, it's mental, it's occupational, it's spiritual, it's environmental. It's really all these things together in balance that create a good life, a healthy life, a Genki life. The Institute for Healthy Aging at Keiro was created to really bundle all these community-based services together and saw that there were specific conditions or illnesses that we could target. Keiro funded programs to meet those needs or anticipate those needs. Held women's wellness conferences, realizing that women make most of the healthcare decisions in the family. Actually, women make most of the economic, financial decisions in a family.
I attended a few caregiver conferences, and they were helpful in that they gave me an overview of what caregiving is.
Well, the first caregiver conference that Keiro had at Wintersburg, it was a Wednesday, so it was the middle of the work week, with 500 people in attendance. And it was such a revelation.
Knowing that there are so many other people that are out there, they're trying to keep their loved ones home. My sister, she doesn't want to be carted off to some strange place with strange people. So I'm glad that I can keep her home.
We formed partnerships to create support networks and introduced a wide variety of programs to help our community navigate a new frontier in the aging field.
Nikkei Senior Networking started many years ago with over 30 organizations around the Southern California area. Is a very important one, and it continues to grow.
The East San Gabriel Valley Japanese Community Center and Keiro began our partnership in 2007 with our first caregivers conference. Ever since then, Keiro has been gracious enough to provide workshops and courses for our older adults and seniors.
So many people from different organizations, temples, churches are all coming together, sitting at the table, sharing stories, sharing the same obstacles and challenges we all face, and just sharing knowledge from what we learned from the Keiro conference. We're like, wow.
Nearly a decade ago, Keiro faced a radical change in the way healthcare would be delivered, forcing tough and controversial decisions. Since our inception, Keiro has always prided ourselves as an organization built on looking toward the future, anticipating needs, and staying steps ahead.
The decision to sell the facilities was a difficult one. and considered and thought about and pondered for a very long time by the board and leadership.
How we're going to sustain ourselves in the future. So we really had two decisions. One, are we going to be a Japanese American organization, or are we going to be a healthcare organization? Now, if we were going to be a healthcare organization, we would have to abide by the Affordable Care Act.
When the decision was made to sell Keiro, again, just as with the hospital, my heart was very sad. But I'm a trained accountant too, and so I could understand, you know, the reasons why it would not survive.
We'll be going into a very difficult path going in the future, seeing that majority of our Japanese Americans really no longer really needed a facility like Keiro.
My goal was continue the mission, continue the legacy of Keiro, and even under different ownership, that we needed to keep those values intact. We needed to continue to, provide the culturally sensitive whole person care.
But as Keiro reinvented ourselves, we never wavered from the mission of our founders, delivering culturally sensitive care to the Japanese American and Japanese community. While sad and difficult for everyone who knew Keiro as an iconic beacon in senior living, the sale of the facilities 5 years ago prompted Keiro to once again do what we do best: innovate.
I do now understand that, you take care of so many more people when you focus on outside the institution care rather than inside.
We're looking at the broader communities.
A doctor from the Keiro would come. I really was able to reach out to the seniors and create activities such as exercise classes and magic shows and Japanese tea ceremony and all these activities that try to get the seniors to come out. And at the same time, we educate seniors, especially during COVID, we had virtual activities and speakers from Keiro.
We've been able to go broader to help people that may be across the country. And I've even heard sometimes we have people from Japan tuning in.
One of my favorites was, we called it the falling class, because it taught you how not to fall.
We've kind of gone from brick and mortars to learning what are the needs of people that want to stay in their homes as long as they can. We established the grants program to provide those organizations that are on the ground who know best their community and their residents.
Through that grants effort, we've been able to expand our senior wellness program, and we've also been able to purchase a minivan that allows us to transport seniors to the community centers.
The Nikkei Widows group, we look for speakers to come monthly to educate and inform. Keiro has been an extremely valuable resource.
Nobody could have foreseen that we'd have a pandemic. And what we saw, how to feel safe personally, that before maybe that didn't bubble up to the top. And Keiro pivoted very quickly, be able to provide real-time information.
As I continue to see Keiro help smaller organizations who may not have been able to maybe fund a program, those things are so meaningful to me as well, because so many small organizations gain so much from that.
During the 60 years, many wonderful accomplishments was made to bring many happiness to the elderly and provide comfort for those who need it.
I hope you enjoyed this journey of innovation and evolution throughout the past, present, and future of Keiro. Not only just our far-reaching grants program, which supports dozens of grassroots organizations, Keiro continues to deliver educational classes and conferences to help older adults age with confidence and vitality. After the sale of the facilities, Keiro also looked for an innovative solution to bring peace of mind to our aging community and their families. Building upon our legacy of high-quality, culturally sensitive care, Keiro partnered with Providence in 2017 to create Iyashi Care, the first of its kind community-based palliative care program specifically focused on the Japanese American and Japanese community. Iyashi Care provides a specialized team of doctors, nurses, social workers, and support staff to provide an extra layer of support to older adults and their families dealing with any serious health condition. It's one of the key services we provide today.
Our older adults who's going through some chronic illnesses, they really need help. And Issei Care offers that.
A very unique program, but it may take a little while for people to actually understand what palliative care actually is.
My father, he fractured his back. He was a little bit depressed. Issei Care kind of helped us figure out what's the best situation for both of my parents.
My mother enrolled my grandmother into Issei Care. One of the doctors actually made a house visit. This doctor played the sanshin and sang some songs to my grandma, and for the first time in I don't know how long, my grandma showed emotions. She was tearing up.
One of the hallmarks of palliative care and Issei Care specifically is a term that we call whole person care. When people are sick, especially chronically or seriously or terminally ill, they have pain in all different levels, not just physical pain, but emotional pain, psychological pain, social pain, spiritual pain, existential pain. And really all of those types of pain need to be addressed.
The fact that our community and Keiro has supported and developed this amazing program with Japanese providers who understand the culture is just extraordinary. This is a program that is absolutely groundbreaking and I think very unique.
Traditional healthcare systems in this country really deal with disease and treatment, diagnosis, and they don't help people individually cope with their diseases, and that's where Issei Care provides that kind of support, which then translates into greater peace of mind.
And gratefulness, thankfulness that there is somewhere where we could call.
It wasn't just having cultural relevance, that care and compassion and wanting to come out and make that connection with this patient, my grandmother, was something that was so important.
When my father needed that care 35 years ago, it was given to him at Keiro Nursing Home. But now those types of services can be provided within each patient's home and within their communities. We still provide cutting-edge, expert, culturally sensitive care for our elderly.
Keiro's name stands for so much good in the community, and we wanted Issei Care to be a program that Keiro could be proud of.
From the Japanese hospital to nursing homes and now to Issei Care, the focus on whole person care continues. But we have only been able to do this thanks to our partnerships and collaborations over the years with various organizations, both large and small. We often say it takes a community to care for older adults. Let's take a look at some of the partnerships we have formed over the years.
Collaboration, I think, for all organizations in our Japanese American community is going to be vital. If we find common ground with other organizations, there should be no question that we should collaborate and partner with them.
I think of Little Tokyo Service Center Social Services as providing a basic safety net, right, for seniors who often have nowhere else to turn or for language reasons, have nowhere else to get help. The partnership with Keiro, I think, has enabled us to both expand that net as well as make the net stronger.
Some of the things that we've done with them is the mental health initiative that we're doing, the caregiving initiative, and also the Little Tokyo East initiative that we did during the pandemic.
Kanamori was one of the first people to ask, what can we do to support seniors in the community who are now under lockdown? And so we put together a senior hot meals program. We delivered 19,000 meals to seniors, provided about $200,000 of revenue to Little Tokyo restaurants, and so that all came about through a partnership with Keiro.
I was very thankful that they created the senior networking system among all the local Japanese American associations. And we learned so much from each other that we were not alone.
Just recently I was in a meeting and we wanted to figure out ways to serve the seniors better, and the first thing one of our members said was, we should talk to Keiro.
We have had over 100 grants the past 4 years, And just seeing what different organizations have done for the older adults membership has been incredible.
We're now able to increase our capacity and offer classes and programs that we would have never been able to do.
That I'm able to really share information, like Alzheimer's and caregivers and palliative cares, and also like cybersecurity, things that help us help the seniors. I feel like I'm the best informed seniors out of all my friends because working at this Cato grant has guaranteed me information too.
We in Providence have a pretty good track record of building programs. Iyashi Care is a novel, innovative program, and so I just so appreciate Cato's trust and confidence in us to partner with them and build this program.
I always have a saying, it's better together. As we march down this road as far as helping older adults in our community, we really need to collaborate more, within these organizations.
We are so grateful for all of our community partners and organizations that work together to support older adults. As the needs of older adults will continue to grow in the future, so will the necessity of collaboration. As we look toward the future of aging in our community, we are on the precipice of a new wave of older adults, the baby boomer generation. With this new generation of older adults comes the need for taking a different approach to how we view aging. Let's take a look.
The future needs are here now. The Sanseis, we are older.
We're so different from our parents and our grandparents as they age.
My generation, we would rather live at home.
Wants to stay active, wants to be healthy, really wants to be engaged.
You're either going to be a caregiver or you're going to need care yourself at some point.
If we could all be a little bit more prepared when it happens, then you don't rush and then you don't get put in the worst situations. At least you know what to do.
Everyone sees Cato as the resource, as the go-to.
Cato's continuously looking at how our community is aging and how our community is adapting and changing.
Keiro will always be relevant because unless they figure out a way to stop time, we're all going there.
I will, definitely be looking for support and assistance, that hopefully Keiro and LTSC can be able to provide.
The Japanese and Japanese American population lives even longer than the average American.
It's not going to be one size fits all anymore.
Getting different generations involved in the caregiving or in the aging process, specifically for me, the millennial generation, would definitely be the knowledge.
There's going to be this intersection between technology and personal, like relationships and care.
With artificial intelligence, the way we going to transport ourselves, the way we eat, the way we access health is going to be totally different.
Iyashi Care has a bright future. I think the need will continue to grow.
For my generation, we can provide that expert and highly specialized care when we can no longer take care of ourselves within our communities and within our homes through Iyashi Care.
Aging in our community is going to be pretty exciting, I think.
As the next generation of older adults shifts, how people want to age will also change. Before we conclude today's program with Jean Kanamori addressing our future, we asked some of our community members how they want to age.
I would like to age, of course, gracefully.
Slowly.
I don't want to age.
On my own terms.
With dignity and grace.
Gracefully.
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 How do I want to age and admit that I'm getting old?
As long as my brain doesn't know how old I really am, I don't feel as old as I actually am.
I want to continue to be as vibrant as possible, live a purposeful life.
Near my own family, in my own community, among my friends, going to bed when I want to go to bed and eating mostly what I want to eat.
Being physically active and then cognitively active too.
I want to age at home.
Not to burden my family members.
I don't want to be a burden on my children.
Keep my mind active, engaged, and always challenging myself so that I never get stagnant. And I think that's how I want to age.
I hope that I can continue to learn more too as I grow older.
You really should have some very serious conversations with your children.
I think about aging all the time because I'm going through it and making choices and understanding really how life opens up in some ways and closes down in others.
I really want to make a significant impact on our community too. That's how I want to age. I want to live out my life doing something meaningful for other people. Lynn opened today's program with the concept of kanreki. Through the videos, we have taken a journey reflecting on our past all the way to the present day, highlighting our community's Genki spirit and Keiro's innovative and collaborative leadership to improve the quality of senior life in our community over the last 6 decades. Kanreki means a time of being reborn, the beginning of a new chapter. As a society, we're at a crossroads. Since stepping into the role of President and CEO in 2019, I attended several conferences on aging throughout the country. Everyone was talking about the silver tsunami. You probably have heard this phrase before. The silver tsunami is a huge influx of flood and aging adults, and specifically the baby boomer generation. Each day, 10,000 baby boomers in America are turning 65, and this year, the first wave of baby boomers turned 75. We, including myself, are no longer the future older adults. We are now the older adults. The flood has been anticipated and talked about for so long is here. As it continues to grow, we are seeing the significant impact that the baby boomer generation is now having and will continue to have on our healthcare system, economy, and communities. But we now have to reimagine what aging is going to look like in our community. For over 60 years, community has been the core of Keiro, and this is truer now than ever before. Through partnerships and grants, we are investing in and strengthening our community's organizations who are serving our aging community every day throughout Southern California, from Orange County to Oxnard. Together with our partners, we are creating innovative programs that meet the evolving needs of our community. Keiro is committed to ensuring that these organizations are equipped to adapt to this new era of older adults and that the Japanese community is strong and ages with dignity for generations to come. Keiro will also continue to grow our partnership with Providence under the leadership of Dr. Glenn Komatsu and Dr. Yuichi Edwin Yanami. Through Iyashi Care and other programs, we will work to continue filling the growing gaps in our current healthcare system and ensure that each of us and our loved ones receive the support and resources to navigate aging. We will continue our long-standing partnership with Little Tokyo Service Center to provide much-needed mental health services and other social services to local Japanese American and Japanese older adults. We will also expand our relationships with support of our other community partners to ensure that we, as a community, are prepared for a new era of older adults. It is our responsibility. As I said before, we are faced with the reality of the silver tsunami. I know that personally, no matter how prepared we are for the caregiver role, we will encounter challenges and difficult decisions. We have seen this in the baby boomer generation and those before us as they cared for their aging parents. We now have the opportunity to prepare the next generation from the lessons we have learned. I'm happy to announce that Keiro is launching a new caregiver program for the millennial generation. As we, the baby boomer generation, come to terms with the fact that we are now the older adults, our children will also be a part of this transition. This program will start conversations with young people to help them prepare themselves as the next caregiving generation. I have been fortunate to work for Keiro for nearly 15 years and witnessed firsthand the deep commitment and quality care our facilities provided to our community over the years. But even to this day, my personal desire is to live and age in my home for as long as possible and not in a facility. And the research shows that I'm not alone. Baby boomers want to age at home for as long as they can, and they don't want to be a burden to their children. And we, baby boomers, always want options. We don't believe in a one-size-fits-all. We want care that is personalized and designed for us. So, to that end, in addition to our ongoing program initiatives, Keiro is exploring options to establish permanent roots here in Little Tokyo and build a new healthy aging and wellness campus. Our plans are still in early stages as we envision this concept of a multi-use campus that may include adult day programs, social services, and possibly senior living options. We are currently conducting research and will continue to seek community's input. I want to assure you that Keiro will have a permanent and physical space in the community. With the possibilities ahead and with our existing community-based programs and partners, Keiro will continue to deliver on commitment to enhancing the quality of senior life for all of our community.
Thank you, Gene. As we have done throughout our 60-year history, we will continue to take bold and innovative steps forward to provide compassionate, viable care options for our community. This is just the beginning of Keiro's new journey, and we look forward to engaging all of you as we explore our options. This is truly our Kanreki celebration. On behalf of Keiro, I want to sincerely thank you for joining us today and for your continued support in our mission to improve the lives of our community's older adults and as we embark on this new era of aging in our community.
Happy 60th anniversary and many more.